Oh dear, looks like I've spelt Facebook wrong. F-A-C-E, isn't it? But C and K are very closely related anyway, as in cake. Both make the K noise. So, yeah, Fakebook, Facebook. Not a lot of difference, really. So, let's talk about Facebook, and I'm going to get onto the narcissism in a moment. But Facebook is a mechanism for telling the world that your life is really great and that their life isn't so great. This is all driven by the basic dynamics of what Schopenhauer particularly calls the will to life. And I'm going to quote Spinosa at some point in all of this. But the will to life sort of works like this. It says, if you are weaker, then I am stronger. Or if I am stronger, you are weaker. This is the basic dynamic behind Facebook. It allows people to go on there and tell people how great their life is. So they may talk about their holidays, their birthdays, eating out. There's always photographs of what they believe is impressive food or parties, their kids, weddings. Maybe if they bought some new stuff, maybe a new car or something, they'll post a photograph of it. It's a bragging mechanism. It's a mechanism for someone to say, I am stronger, therefore you are weaker. Now this may seem a very cynical view of the whole thing, but you should know that there is quite a large population of psychologists who are very concerned about the whole Facebook thing. It has given voice to some fairly unpleasant habits that human beings have. This thing of believing that if they are stronger, if they can convince the world that they are having a really good time, then other people will somehow be diminished. I mean, what they really expect is other people to fawn over what they've done, so they post a photograph of, I don't know, them all looking very happy on a holiday, and everybody's supposed to put comments and tick the approve or whatever it is, like box, and so they're looking for approval. And this whole thing is a two-edged sword, in that the people who are doing this the most are actually the most inadequate and insecure people. There's a very, very good article, or there was, just over a year ago in the Guardian about the Facebook narcissism thing. And there's a quote here from an author called Ilan Golom, and I'll quote it. He says, "They consciously deny an unstated and intolerably poor self-image through inflation. They turn themselves into glittering figures of immense grandeur surrounded by psychologically impenetrable walls. This goal of self-deception is to be impervious to greatly feared external criticism and to their own rolling sea of doubts." So what happens if you don't actually like something, or actually if you put the thumbs down? Well, if someone that has supposedly been your friend for a long time gives you a thumbs down, they're probably not going to be your friend for a lot longer, because our frail little egos cannot deal with disapproval. The people who are seeking approval the most, here's my wonderful partner, here's this wonderful meal we had, here's a wonderful restaurant, here's a wonderful holiday, here's my wonderful new car. The people who are seeking approval the most are the ones who are most delicate. And so they are pleading effectively for approval. But at the same time, they're trying to piss all over you, basically. I mean, fairly crude way of putting it, but that's what's going on. Because if you are weaker, they are stronger. And if they are stronger, you are weaker. So this is what's going on Facebook, and it's all fairly unpleasant. I have a Facebook account. I visit it about maybe 6 times a year. And really I could just delete it and really not miss it. The postings on there by people I've known a long time, family and so on, I find just, well, fairly sad really, that they should have to try and impress their group of friends and their colleagues or whoever's following them. That they should have to try and impress them, it seems like a very, very sad thing. Now, what is missing on these postings that people put on Facebook is things like funerals or a visit to the doctors. All the life diminishing things. So what people put on there is what they believe to be the power and life enhancing things. They're bigging themselves up. They're not going to post on there that they've just been to the doctors and they're not very well. They might do, some people might do that and they might be looking for sympathy. But most people do not put stuff on there that is life diminishing. And in fact, if you do put stuff on there that's life diminishing, then you know instinctively that what you are doing is indirectly empowering everybody else. And there is this nasty little thing called Schadenfreude, which basically means pleasure at someone else's misfortune. So if someone posts on there, I've just lost my job, there may be a reasonable portion of people who follow that person who experience some sense of Schadenfreude at that. They'll never admit it. They'll probably put some comment, below the posting. Oh, so sad to hear that you've lost your job. And they might not even be honest enough to look in themselves and say, well, actually, he got it coming, or she got it coming, and I'm a little bit happy about that. Christopher Hitchins was once asked, Christopher Hitchins, such an honest and brave man, he was once asked, what is it that gives you the most pleasure in life? And he said, crowing over the misfortunes of others. He said it in a way where the audience sort of fell off their seats laughing. And they fell off their seats laughing because, as you know, humour is the resolution of two opposing things. Those opposing things, in this case, being, this is what I really, really feel. I like to see the misfortunes of others because it makes me feel more powerful. And then on the other hand, all the societal conditioning which says you need to be sympathetic and you need to be considerate and all those kind of things. So when somebody says, my greatest pleasure is to crow over the misfortunes of others, then those two things clash together and people laugh. So I actually can't find the thing, or I'd put it in the box below the video, but it was amazing honesty. Anyway, onto the narcissism thing. The reason that narcissism, and of course, there are particularly young people are posting loads and loads of stuff about how great they are, whatever the parties they've been to, their new partner, their holidays, their, I don't know, whatever. The problem with narcissism is that the people who are most addicted in that sense have very high expectations of what they can achieve by promoting themselves on something like Facebook. Now, of course, there are probably 1 billion people promoting themselves in that way, and so the chances of anything significant happening for them are fairly remote, and so they become disillusioned and depressed because of this over-expectation. And that in itself fuels a cycle. They become more and more desperate to try and impress people. It's a very, very, very sad state of affairs when someone is so desperate that they will spend half their day trying to impress people on Facebook. Anyway, let me quote this thing from Spinosa, because Spinosa, for any Spinosa fans out there, this is Proposition 55 in Part 3. Probably zero Spinosa fans, but anyway. Proposition 55. And he calls it out in his own understated but equally brutal way. So he says, it follows that everyone is fond of narrating his own exploits, displaying the force both of his body and mind, and also that for this reason men are troublesome one to another. Yes, they are on Facebook. Again, it follows that men are naturally envious, rejoicing in the shortcomings of their equals and feeling pain at their virtues. For whenever a man conceives his own actions, he is affected with pleasure, in proportion as his actions display more power, and he conceives them more distinctly, that is, in proportion as he can distinguish them from others and regard them as something special. Oh well, don't we all want to be something special? Therefore a man will take most pleasure in contemplating himself when he contemplates some quality which he denies to others. Yes, I may be a superstar on Facebook, but none of you other shits can be. But if that which he affirms of himself be attributable to the idea of man or animals in general, he will not be so greatly pleased. He will on the contrary feel pain if he conceives that his own actions fall short when compared with those of others. This pain he will endeavour to remove by putting a wrong construction on the accounts of his equals, or by, as far as he can, embellishing his own. The whole of Part 3 of the Ethics is stuff like that. But that's one that I particularly like. Now, while at one level this is sort of a little bit amusing, at another level it's quite tragic, because what Facebook has done is provide a channel for people to exercise these kind of instincts, and it isn't good. So I don't know where all this Facebook thing is going to lead. Maybe at some point people will get tired of it. But I think it is doing huge damage to our society, simply because it provides a channel for expression of some of our most base instincts. And that isn't a good thing.